What is going on, everybody? This is Play on Daily Fantasy Sports, and today I'll be giving out my picks and projections for NBA, Fanduel, and Draftkings. This is February the 4th, 2019, and tonight we have got a nice looking 6-game slate. Typically 5 to 8 game slates are the optimal slate, and so tonight is looking like a solid night. So, quick recap of yesterday. Yesterday was the Super Bowl, and I ended up picking the Rams. That was the team that I was on, and obviously that didn't end up going well. The game was just awful to watch, and was not a fun Super Bowl experience for me. Hopefully you had better results though. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into our first picks, our DraftKings guards, and the first guy that we're going to be targeting today is Frank Jackson. Jackson has a really nice matchup tonight against a weakened Pacers backcourt. They're missing Oladipo. Tyreek Evans isn't playing as much. Really defensively, it's a very weak backcourt for them to be facing right now. He's also become the main point guard, and with Drew Holiday not for sure to play tonight, Jackson's definitely going to be one guy you want to look to target. The next guard we're going to recommend is going to be Marco Bellinelli for the Spurs. He's going to be in a fast-paced game tonight against the Kings, a team that likes to go small ball, and so he's the type of guy that the Spurs are going to really look to utilize tonight. I think he's a cheap priced play. I think it's not going to take much to get his salary, and he is a very optimal play if you're trying to fit in some more expensive type plays. And the next guard pick is actually going to be his teammate, and that is Bryn Forbes. I think Forbes might be a slightly better play than Bellinelli. He's a little more expensive, but Forbes is more of an athlete, and the Kings really are a pretty athletic team. They're always pushing the tempo, and they have athletic guys such as Fox, Cauley Stein. So they're going to need a similar athlete like Forbes out there to play a lot of minutes tonight. So I expect Forbes and another guy to Derek White both to get plenty of minutes tonight in the Spurs backcourt. So next, let's go ahead and hop into the forwards on DraftKings. And the first forward that I'm going to recommend is going to be Taurean Prince. Prince has got a great matchup against just a completely demoralized Wizards team. Projections are all over him, and I've always thought that he is a 6 to 7K type salary guy. And if he's going to be given the minutes, then I definitely think he's a guy you want to target. The next guy I'm going to recommend is going to be Otto Porter Jr. In the same matchup is Prince. The only difference is the Hawks always have an awful defense. Porter is a great play tonight. He's actually my cash lock for DraftKings. I'm playing him in everything tonight, and I think Porter is a guy that fading would be very, very risky. And finally, the last guy that we're going to target tonight is a guy that projections are always all over. So it's very, you sometimes have to take those projections with a grain of salt. But I am a fan of him tonight, and that is Bogdan Bogdanovic for the Kings. Against the Spurs, which should be an up-tempo game. The Spurs aren't exactly used to defending an up-tempo type offense. I like Bogdan tonight to have a solid game. So next, let's go ahead and hop right into the FanDuel guard recommendations for tonight. And the first guy that I'm going to throw out there is going to be Frank Jackson again. Frank is a great punt play on FanDuel. That's why I'm mentioning him here. I think you can play him on both slates, but especially on FanDuel as a punt play, he's a guy you're going to want to look at. The next guard that I'm going to recommend is going to be De'Aaron Fox. Projections are all over Fox. He's projected a heavy minute load tonight. He had a bit of an injury scare in the last game, but it's looking like he's should be completely fine to go tonight. Against the Spurs again, I think this is a matchup where no one on the Spurs can really guard Fox with his speed. And so I'm really looking for Fox at a reasonable $7,500 salary to be a top play. And the final guard that I'm going to recommend today is going to be DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan has struggled recently, very much in fact. I played him a couple nights ago and he disappointed. But the reason I like him tonight is, as I had mentioned before, in this Kings game, it's going to be up-tempo, it's going to be fast-paced. This is the type of game that DeRozan typically is going to thrive in. When he was with Toronto, those were the games he did best in, were the up-tempo game, when him and Lowry were able to get out on the fast break. And so, in a game tonight where I think the tempo will be much quicker pace compared to what the Spurs are used to, DeRozan is a great play. So finally, let's go ahead and move into the forwards and center selections on FanDuel tonight. The first guy I'm going to recommend is going to be similar to a DK guy, and that is Otto Porter. I really think you want Porter on everything tonight. I think that Porter is a all-around just solid play, and his salary isn't a good indication of the player that he is. The next guy that I'm going to recommend is going to be Kenrich Williams. He's been playing great for the Pelicans recently. He doesn't have too terrible of a matchup tonight against the Pacers. The minutes have been given to him. Again, with like Randall, Anthony Davis out, minutes have to go to big guys somewhere, and he's really thrived when given the minutes. And his salary is also very cheap. And the final guy I'm going to mention is his teammate, actually, and that's going to be Jahlil Okafor. I think Okafor has played great. He pushed himself up to around a 9K salary on FanDuel even. But today he's back down to about 7,800, I believe, 7,700. And so with that type of salary, I definitely think he's a guy you're going to want to look at. And finally, the cash lock on FanDuel tonight is going to go ahead and be DeMar DeRozan. I really like DeRozan in this matchup. As I had mentioned, I think this is the perfect scenario for him to have a big game. He's struggled recently, but his shots and minutes have always been there, so volume is not an issue. And I think playing DeRozan is a must tonight. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Pay attention to the news, see if things change. Guys get ruled out that can impact things, and adjust accordingly. And feel free to subscribe and like the video if you wish to continue seeing this daily fantasy sports content. Thanks.